Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Big Dogs Racing Star Motorsports 125, brought to you from the USA International Speedway. We'd like to bring you quickly to our race lineup tonight, leading off with our pole sitter.
Number 35, Camps Propane Chevrolet, Matt Scott.
Number 78, Nairmore Machine Shop, Andy Lashinsky.
Number 96, John Deere Chevy Monte Carlo, Michael Hungerford.
Number 29, Netstream Communications, Bobby Cannon.
Number 80, Mark Schaefer, driver of the Monte Carlo 5-star Justin.
Number 62, BBNT, Brian Holman Designs, Children's Health Care of Atlanta, Chevrolet, Brian Holman.
Number 60, Ron Miller, Down Valley.
Number 15, Jason Hogan, Pledge for the USA, Jason Hogan Designs, Chevrolet.
Number 32, Robert Thompson from Burpneck, Texas, sponsored by Fuzzy's Tacos.
Number 21, Corey Volkanot, Phoenix, Arizona. Number 21, Hoyt Archery.
Number 00, Mark Figueroa, sponsored, Georgia National Guard.
Number 53, Big Dogs Racing, Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
Number 64, Bob Bevins, Bevins CNC.
Number 18, Rodney Hack, Steak and Shake, Chevy Monte Carlo.
Number 51, Donnie Gates.
Number 8, Eddie Mossick, Western PA, the Goodrich Hose, Monte Carlo.
Mike Taylor, number 48, the Guard.
Number 92, Glenn Eddershelf, Lake Ronkonkoma, New York.
Number 12, Josh Weaver, Durham, North Carolina.
Number 7, Tony Pannon, Grand Rapids, Michigan, NVIDIA car.
Number 47, Bob Robertson, the Nairmore Racing Chevy.
Number 61, Eddie Muha, Level Cross, North Carolina.
And that would round out our tonight's field. Good luck tonight, gentlemen. As we get ready to take the green, the lights are off on the pace car. The field's lined up ready to go, Nick. Green, green, green. They're off down the start into turn 1, 2 wide.
All the 29 and 96 get together. Seem to straighten out.
Matt Scott jumps out to an early lead. Looks like the 62 of Brian Holman's fallen back. Wonder what's wrong with Brian, or maybe he's just choosing to drop back out of the chaos early in this race.
Well, before the race had started, he reported a tight race car and in and off the corners.
Oh, so he was reporting a tight condition. That explains it. So maybe he's just got to sit back and get comfortable with his line tonight and see where he can go from there. It looks like the number 62, Bob Bevins, is charging. Is it the 64? 64 of Bob Bevins is trying to work his way up through the field. He was diving low.
And we have the number 96 dropping back. He's now fallen back to 6th position, now 7th. Looks like he might be fighting that tight condition himself.
Yeah, he's up there in that high line, and it's not the preferred line at this USA International Speedway. And our first caution is out. It looks like the number 8's caught up into something. Let's take a look at that. Looks like Ed's just going through the corner, and And maybe did he get together a little bit with the 51, or did he just lose it a little bit here?
Looked like he might have come down a little bit on him.
Yeah, it looks like he came down just a little bit on the 51. Something we might want to touch on tonight, guys, is these guys better get good at avoiding wrecks because they've only got one reset tonight. And so they can get caught up in somebody else's junk one time, and after that, they have to give each other a little bit of room. It doesn't look like Ed took a lot of damage, and nobody really piled into him, so he should be all right. But it's still, you definitely want to be careful early on.
And looks like mainly everybody's coming down pit road. And I think about every caution we have, we're going to have guys coming in for tires the way these cars are tight.
Even the number 35 of Matt Scott came in, and he's known to stay out and try his luck with tires. We've seen that in the last two events, or maybe he's just thinking that tonight this thing doesn't have the tire wear that the other two tracks have had.
Yeah, it looks like the 78's the only one that stayed out for this. He must be feeling pretty good about his race car tonight.
Yeah, I would think that, you know, you'd still have quite a bit of tire under you. I mean, if anything, I mean, these cars are made for a long run. This is a bigger 3/4 mile track with good banking. You know, it's although now, from what I understand, USA International Speedway is actually just somewhere where they have to mow or weed eat frequently, that the track's not actually there anymore. But it used to be in Lakeland, Florida, I do believe. Looks like did Ron Miller pit as well, or did he stay out? If he pitted, he must have only got 2 tires.
No, Mark had stayed out. Or no, that was Andy, sorry. I have Darrell Waltrip syndrome tonight.
Just for everybody in the audience, we do have 2 in-race reporters tonight. Brian Holman in the number 62 car, and Matt Scott in the number 35. First and second place in the points coming into tonight's race. So far we've seen that 10-point rule come into a little bit of play as far as Matt Scott gaining the points lead. You know, he ran an incident-free race last week, and that really gave him a jump.
And I just got a report from the pit reporter that we have the 2nd through 5th place. It'll take 2 tires and about 4 tires for everybody else from there.
All right, this ought to be interesting. Looks like the lights are off on the pace car. We'll be going green this time. Looks like we got everybody lined up, ready to go. Looks like we've got Matthew Scott up front with Andy Lashinsky, a newcomer to Big Dogs Racing. This will be his first race tonight. He's up there in the number 78. And Lashinsky gets a good jump. He goes sailing into turn 1 real hard, and they're too wide from about 4th position on back, but he gets a great jump on that start.
That, and we had a little bit of a bottleneck from there on back, which kind of spread out the field a little bit, which might make this help go green for a little bit.
It looks like, I'm looking back into the field a little bit, and it looks like the number 53 of Gary Moore, he's getting ready to be in a hot spot there. He's got some real fast cars behind him, some real fast cars in front of him. And I know Gary really liked this setup going into tonight's race. He handpicked it. We handed him 3 excellent choices for this track tonight, and this is his favorite one. So I look for Gary Moore to come out here tonight and show something. Our sponsor tonight, Star. What that is, ladies and gentlemen, that's a senior tour. Oh, looks like Gary Moore gets to the side of Bobby Cannon and puts him around. Oh, and we have another car spinning as he's slowing down. See if we can go back and take a look at what happened to the number 29. There's the Bob Evans. He spun out after the fact. He's got a little damage in the rear. So they're just going into the corner, and that looks like, it actually looks like Bobby Cannon comes up into Gary a little bit. He had plenty of room on that bottom line to stay down there. It just looks like he slid up a little bit. Oh, and look at that. The number 32 of Robert Thompson gets into Bob Evans. I thought he self-spun, but no, that's not the case. I wonder what Bob's thinking, huh? Wake up, Robert Thompson. Wonder how many of these guys will pit this time. Think we'll see them all come down pit road again? Those guys that stayed out, do you think they'll try to stay out again? It'll be interesting. Pits should be open. Looks like the 21 car of Donnie Gates would be the lucky dog on that caution. I don't know how Donnie got a lap down already, but he is. Maybe he stayed and got too much fuel. We've seen that in the past where these guys will have too much fuel selected for this car, and next thing you know, they're going a lap down in the pits. So we're under caution. Right now, the number 78 of Andy Lashinsky is in the lead, followed by Mark Schaefer in the 80, and then Ron Miller in the number 60. Then the number 35 of Matthew Scott. Then the 00 of Mark Figueroa. And then the 53 of Gary Moore. And the number 15 of Jason Hogan, number 7 of Tony Pandon, then the number 61 of Eddie Mua, then the number 10 of Corey Volkenot. That rounds out our top 10 drivers so far. It's kind of early. We've already had 2 cautions. I didn't really expect that. These guys have 1 reset.
Looks like Bob Evans might be tracking a little bit there from that incident he had going up into the wall.
Yeah, and Bob is a real strong driver at this track too. He's got to be a little bit upset at that. But hopefully he's still got his 1 reset and he's able to use it and get himself back out there and make something of it. Now it looks like he got it straightened up.
No, I don't. He came in for repairs. I think he's saving his reset for later on in the race since it's so early.
The lights are off on the pace car. We're getting ready to take the green. See if Andy Lashinsky gets a really good jump on this start like he did the last one. And he's off. He gets a really good jump. Mark Schaefer falls in behind him. Ron Miller right behind him. It looks like they're racing pretty hard up there.
There's a pretty good battle 5th going on between the 53 and the 00. Now the 53 is slid back battling with the 15.
Looks like the 53 starting to lose ground up on that high line. Maybe that's not a good place to be tonight.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the preferred line here. Seems like he's got settled back down and he's going to get back after it. Going back after the 15.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get by old Jason Hogan real easy. Jason's been known to be pretty fast everywhere he goes, and he may be just sitting back there being patient. Looks like they've all just kind of fallen into line. Nice and single file. Everybody's kind of just putting some lap down, giving everybody a little bit of room.
Got a pretty decent battle back in for 17th. They've squared it out a little bit. 47 and 96 are too wide still.
Be Michael Hungerford back there fighting with the 18 of Rodney Hack and the 51 of Donnie Gates. That's kind of straightened itself out. It looks like, yeah, these guys are maybe content just stretching this thing out, you know, and putting some laps down, getting some laps under their belt, keeping this show moving.
You know, it doesn't seem like this track's real good for too wide racing. It doesn't seem like they do a lot of battling with that. Break it up pretty quickly.
We have a battle brewing up there with the right behind the 21 and the 7, along with Brian Holman, and it looks like Corey Valkenot maybe. Mike Taylor in the 48. Those guys are back there too wide. And now here comes Robert Thompson in the Fuzzy Taco machine. I mean, he's moving up into this mix. So I don't know. Maybe these guys were just trying to let everybody stretch out, and now they're all wanting to go for it at the same time. We got good run going right there. Bobby Cannon looks like he's trying to start to bring up his part of the game and step it in with these guys as well. As Brian Holman moves under Corey Valkenot to take that position. Same time, Tony Pandon moves under the 53 to take that position. So we got a couple position changes right here. It looks like, well, Robert Thompson's going to try to sneak up behind these guys and see if he can't take those positions with him as well. I think once you get stuck on that high side, it's tough going. It doesn't look like they're able to really run as fast as the other guys are down on the bottom. But
now going back up towards front, Andy Lashindy seems to have stretched out his lead to 1.2 seconds over Mark Schaefer, with Ron Miller 1.6 seconds back in third.
Good job, Andy. Good, you know, that shows that clean air really means something. You can pull those guys down the straightaways and really break it out. But, you know, I don't know. He may not realize, you know, some of these guys have found out in the season so far that, you know, if you push it real hard at the beginning, you lose your tires a lot faster in the longer runs. And you know, maybe some of these guys are sitting back with a little bit of that strategy, because it looked like Matt Scott, you know, when he went around Ron Miller there, Ron really didn't put up much of a fight. He just kind of let him go and fell back in a line behind him. And they may know something about not wearing out your tires here. So we'll see. I mean, you know, maybe he can maintain this lead, but he's going to eventually run into lap traffic, and it's going to slow him down.
I don't know if that would be the strategy, though. Tell that to Andy Lashinsky, which is stretching out that lead now to 1.8 seconds. He ain't laying back at all. He's just using up his car as much as he can.
Well, you go, Andy. He may not, you know, he may think, well, we're going to have a few cautions tonight. We've already seen 2. Why not, you know? At least up
he's
there.
Gaining about a tenth. He's gaining about a tenth and a half a lap here.
At least up there, you know, nobody's going to wreck you.
Generally speaking, that's the safest place to be.
And it looks like Matt Scott's trying to work on that second position. Mark Schaefer's not just going to give it to him, though. He's going to have to take it. Mark's a competitor, you know. He's going to race as hard as he can. But he looks like he gets a run on him going into the corner. He's underneath him, and Mark Schaefer has to let him go. But here's Matt Scott's off to the races. You know, can he run him down? Can he clip some time off of Andy Lashinsky's lead? We'll find out.
Well, we're about a straightaway away from lap process happening. Looks like Bob Roberts will be the first one. He'll be taking a lap down here. Looks like Andy has a little bit of damage on the rear end of his car there.
Yeah, I think he slapped the wall early in the run when he got that good run coming out of turn 2. I think he caught the wall just a little bit back then. But you know, if you look back in the field a little bit, the number 29 of Bobby Cannon and Robert Thompson, they're back here just duking it out. You know, they got Corey Vulcan out behind them. Corey don't know which way to go. You know, as soon as he tries to get by one of these guys, they're going to close the door. They've been side by side, door to door, one on the high side, one on the bottom all night, and see Corey tries to sneak in there, and old Robert cuts him down a little bit. He says, no, I ain't done with Bobby Cannon yet. We're going to see if this jalapeno car can run down the cannon tonight.
Well, now that they're spread out, it seems it's turning out to be a pretty clean race with this one groove track here. Produce a long run.
Bobby Cannon takes another spot away. Is that Tony Pandon? So that'll move Bob up into the top 10. Robert Thompson's going to sneak by with him. That'll Thompson into the top 10.
That 32 car's working on the 7. '29's made a pretty good rebound from that earlier. He's running in 10th now.
Yeah, he's having a good run. He's getting her done out there tonight. It doesn't look like Matt Scott's going to reel him in at all. Matt's just kind of hovering there thinking, man, how am I going to catch this guy? You know, Matt's been on the other end of that stick where he's had that clean air and been able to pull away the same way. And so now he's seeing it tonight.
You know, it's possible that Mark and Matthew might be laying back a little bit to not use up their stuff like you were saying earlier, because then they can opt to 2 tires on the next pit stop when Andy will probably have to take 4.
Yeah, I never even threw that into the mix. And you know, pit stops here, you know, it takes so long on pit road in these cars. And you know, how much fuel did they start the race with? I believe they only had a 65% fuel load on board with these, was the max load tonight. And I think that's somewhere right around 35 or 40 laps maybe. So there's going to be a few pit stops, maybe even coming up.
Builder Andy Leszczynski in the 78's been incredibly consistent. He's pretty much run 21 eighths, 22 flats throughout the evening since they've continued this green flag run here. Up, we got a caution.
Caution's out. Caution is out. 53. Seems like a 53 was involved, which would be the lucky dog, which would probably eliminate the lucky dog if he caused it. That's how these guys do that. You know, we should get in a word from our sponsor, the guys over at Bob's Motorsports, too, under this caution. They've been, you know, so kind as to help us out, and they do such a good job over there at Bob's. And let's see what happens to Gary real quick here. Looks like looks like the 8 of Ed Mahalsick got into him just a little bit and turned him around.
So our luck dog is the number 47?
I do believe. Actually, the lucky dog would be the 53, because he didn't cause the caution. If, you know, that's how they do it here. If you don't cause it, you still get your lucky dog. You can be involved. If you can get it collected and get it driven around, and you can take your lucky dog right when the pit's open, that's when they do it. And if you're not available at that time, then you don't get it, and neither does anybody else. Like I was saying, those guys over at Bob's Motorsports, you know, they're really big into the quarter scale RC cars, and they fabricate their own chassis. They're the leading manufacturer of Bullseye chassis and Lightning chassis as well. And those guys are really cool. You need to go check out their website. It's www.bullseye.9f.com. Give Bob a shout. Tell him you heard his name over here on the Big Dogs Racing Star Motorsports 125, brought to you by Glacier TV. Once again, special thanks to the guys at Glacier for letting us come in here and have some fun, and sending over Mr. Phil Diaz as the cameraman and coordinator, and really the guy carrying the load that nobody ever sees. Thanks, Phil. So, Nick, what do you think we're going to see here? It looks like Mark Figueroa is the first guy out of the pits. That's going to put him on the pole. Matt Scott right next to him. Do you think Matt Scott's going to let him get a jump like the last guy? I just don't see it happening. I just think Matt's going to be real hesitant. Why don't we pull Matt in here, and we'll ask him what his strategy is. Let me get our in-race reporter in here. Matt Scott, Rob Moore, what's your plan for attack here? You gonna let this guy pull away from you like the last one? It looks like making up ground's pretty hard.
Yeah, with this one to go right here, I mean, I'm just biding my time, really saving my tires, seeing what's gonna happen at the end of the race. I'm just trying to save it. No need to rush.
We wondered if you were laying back there and just saving your stuff, knowing that these tires will go out longer. We'll let you get back to driving, Matt. Sorry we pulled you in here so late. We'll talk to you more later on in the race. Good luck. And they're off. Mark Figueroa gets a good jump. Matt Scott right behind him. Ron Miller's right there. You know, Ron's had a couple rough races as of late, and hopefully he can turn it around.
I hope we got
we have a wreck. We have a wreck on the track. Caution is out.
Looks like the number 15. He'd gotten spun by the 62.
That would be Jason Hogan. I don't know if that's his first reset of the night or not. I guess we'll have to find out. Yeah, it looks, you know, he's going into the corner, and he's just got a good line down there on the bottom. Oh, it looks like Brian Holman gets into the back of him. 62. Just punts him, and then everybody kind of dog piles in from there.
Well, why don't we go to our in-race reporter, Brian Holman, and find out what happened there?
All right.
Hey, Brian, this is Nick up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, how's your race going for you? What happened there and getting into the back?
Oh, man, I don't know. Everybody just jockeying for positions, and, you know, I guess I zigged where I should have zagged.
So what's your
strategy? You damaged your car pretty bad, or?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say again.
I was asking if you did damage your car pretty bad there.
Not too much. I've probably been in the front end just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. Maybe we can, setup's a little bit tight, but maybe we can work our way back up again. We'll just have to see what we got.
I'm sure you're going to try to see what you got as far from Mr. Hogan as you can tonight. That looked pretty evil. Poor guy, he's all dented up against the wall, but we know Jason's still, you know, he's still probably got his reset, and he'll have a good race anyhow, and you guys are good buddies, so I'm sure that's a little love tap between friends. You could probably give each other a hug over it tomorrow.
Well, I mean, he dropped down low and jumped in line, and come back up. So I let him back up. Then he gets back down low like he's going back into the corner. So, I mean, by the time I got up there, he just kind of come back up, and I had nowhere to go. So
it's hard racing, man, and even amongst good buddies, they're going to race each other every lap like it's the last lap. That's what makes these big dogs so fun to watch in these races. Good luck tonight, Brian. What's your pit strategy? I mean, how's the tires feeling for you? You going to be able to do some 2-tire stops here? Or?
I've tried 2 tires, and it's just tighter than what it originally is. So I guess I'm going to stay with 4 tires the rest of the night.
What kind of fuel mileage are you guys getting tonight?
About 4 miles to the gallon.
How many laps are you guys getting on a full tank? I'm sorry.
Oh, probably, I was going to say about 90 or so. So if somebody's got a full tank, they'll be able to make it the rest of the way.
Okay, that's good to know.
I just don't think tires will hold up.
It's good to know. All right, Brian, well, good luck, man. We'll move you back up with your buddies, and you can go hear from Jason Hogan.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
Well, everybody, you heard it right there as we're going green. And Mark Figueroa gets a good jump on the number 35 of Matt Scott. Number 60 car dives in underneath the 78 of Andy Lashitsky. Andy up there on the high side, he hasn't been in a lot of traffic tonight, so I don't know if he realizes how that clean air affects the car, but we'll see.
We have a lead change.
Oh, we have a lead change. Matt Scott's jumped into the lead. Yeah, Matt kicked that idea around, Nick, where, gosh, if I let this guy get out there on me, can I reel him back in? So he's not taking any chances. We got everybody.
Yeah, I'm thinking that 00 when he had made his pit stop last. I don't think he took but 2 tires, and I think that's really affecting him now on this run.
Well, we just heard Brian Holman, our in-race reporter, in here, and he recommended against it. And, Brian, he's driven enough of these race cars where he'd know the feel of it, so. As Matt Scott starts to build a comfortable lead, and we look back in the field a little bit, and we have Brian Holman back there running with Mike Taylor for the 9th and 10th spot. Right in there with them's Josh Weaver in the number 12. They're duking it out back there.
We have a battle for second here. Ron Miller in the number 60 car just got by the 00,
Oh,
and he's
the
bringing the 78
96
with
is
him.
around. The 96 is around. Caution is out.
Yeah, it looks like the 12 might have got him.
Oh, yeah, it looked like the 12 got right into the back of him. I mean, it's just hard racing. These guys aren't doing it on purpose. They're not out here maliciously crashing each other. He probably just didn't get on his brakes hard enough, or the other guy might have checked up a little bit. And he just barely got into the back of him. You can see where he tried to avoid it, but he still brought him around. But he didn't hit anything, and nobody hit him. So he should be able to take it into the pits and get some fresh tires on it, bring it back out, and still be competitive. It's early enough in the race where they can still make their mark from back there. How about a word from our sponsor? Can we get that working? And we're back live, everybody. Welcome to the Big Dogs Racing Star Racers 125, brought to you by Bob's Motorsports. It looks like the number 60 car may have stayed out under that caution. He's going to get up there in the lead. I think old Ron Miller knows that he's seen what that clean air has benefited people, and I think he wants a piece of it.
And the leader before the caution, Matthew Scott's now running in 12th. I think he took 4 fresh tires. We're working lap number 65. He's about halfway through this thing. That's probably a good idea.
Oh yeah, you know, if you're going to experiment with something, do it now. The midpoint in the race. Still got a lot of time left. You know, you still may have a couple cautions.
It looks like we'll be going this time by.
See if Ron Miller gets as good a jump on the start here as everybody else has tonight. You know, we got Mark Figueroa on the outside, the 00, right behind him, and third behind Ron Miller in the third spot is Andy Lashinsky, and
we're
green. Ron Miller gets a nice jump there. He gets a nice start. See if he can hold it into turn 1 real hard, and yep, he's got her set in there. All these guys in the back jostling around, you know, they're trying to gain all the track position they can right now. And Ron Miller's thinking, just keep fighting, guys. I need to get as much space on you as I can. Let's not forget the 78's right behind him. And then, you know, if you look back, the 32 and the 62 of Brian Holman and Robert Thompson, they're battling it out. They may have settled down a little bit, but they're going to get after it. You heard?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too long before the 78 of Lashinsky gets up on Ron and takes the lead from him. Lashinsky's really fast. In fact, I think he's going to make a move in the next corner here. He's setting him up.
Yep, he's there. Can he get under him? Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Can he hold it? Ron Miller's got the gas pedal down as hard as he can. Can he keep it up? No. It looks like, you know, that bottom line's been faster all night, and Lashinsky got under him. You know, that no tire strategy for Ron Miller is not paying off right now. Looks like Mark Figueroa is going to sneak his way through there, and oh! Ron Miller comes down a little bit off on the initial view. Not sure. He's backed into the fence hard. There's a lot of damaged race cars off that one. They piled in pretty good, you guys. That's going to change the outcome of this race. There was some fast cars piled up into that.
Oh, wow.
That's going to change the complexion of this whole race as we come on to the replay. We see Ron Miller giving him the high side, but what happens? Oh, it looks like Ron Miller just cuts down just a little bit, and Mark Figueroa doesn't move down any. You know, he's turning on exit as hard as he can, and they just get together, and the chaos ensues. Car after car piling into it. You're going to see everybody filing down pit road, fix damage on this one, and a lot of these guys aren't going to have any repairs left. So we'll see what happens.
You know, I think our worst victim on that was the number 48. He's tracking pretty good and coming back out. I don't think he's going to be able to race Sheen.
I don't know if Ron Miller's even still on the track. They may have just loaded it up and said goodnight, folks. He may be out of resets and he can't get that thing fired up anymore. You know, they'll tell you just got too much damage. That may be the case for the 48 as well. We'll find out. That's Mike Taylor, our broadcast booth voice from past weeks, guys. He's come in here and helped Nick and I in the broadcast booth, and he was here last week. Had a little bit of microphone problems, but it was fun having Mike in here. He was having a good race, but I think his night's pretty much over.
You know, and out of all that melee, it looks like Brian Holman skated through that pretty good. I was just watching the replay on him, and boy, he did all he could to not run over anybody. Yeah, but is he going to have enough to chase down old Andy Lashinsky? I mean, was he really saving his stuff, or are these setups that match to where that clean air is that much of an advantage? We've seen a couple guys pull away with fresh tires, but we've also seen guys with not so fresh tires, you know, that couldn't hold that lead spot. You know, Ron Miller was a victim of that. You know, I think we'll go ahead and pull up the 62 car of Brian Holman and talk to him about his perspective there. All right, look forward to hearing from Brian. Hey, Brian, it's Nick up in the booth.
Hey, how's it going?
We're having a fun time watching this with that last melee there. How did you end up avoiding all that? That was a pretty good job you did there.
Well, I seen all the smoke and wreck, and I just mashed that thing called a brake pedal and got woed up.
Yeah, he's bobbing and weaving to keep up from everybody and keep them up.
Oh, yeah. It's like playing dodgeball.
Having a good race.
Think you're going to have anything for the leader tonight? Oh, we're getting ready to go green.
I don't know. Haven't been able to race with him that much. I don't know.
As we can hear Brian ripping through the gears and getting her up to speed. Oh, he gets a little bit loose. We may be distracting him up here in the booth.
No, that wasn't no distracting. Fella right into me.
That was a nice save there.
But no, I don't know.
Get
I mean,
yourself back up there.
I don't know. I might be able to run with these guys. We'll just have to see here in just a little bit.
Good luck, buddy. We'll move you up. As we have Mike Taylor joining us in the broadcast booth tonight. Mike, you were having a good race, and it looks like you got caught up in that huge pile up, and now you're in the booth with us. We're glad to have you.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I had a real good race going on. You know, I fell back, came back up to about 9th or 8th, and then when the smoke cleared, I had nowhere to go, and can't point fingers to anybody on that one, but yeah, so here I am. I'm excited to finish watching the race. We had a good stint there at the beginning. Really enjoyed myself, and glad to see how this one plays out.
Looks like we got the 96 car. He dropped back a little bit, got caught up on that high side, and he let some fast guys wash by him. The 32, the 35, the 62. Behind him we got Gary Moore. He's pretty damaged in the front end though. It's gonna be, I don't know if Gary's gonna be able to keep up, but he should be all right. He should still be able to pull a good finish out with that damage.
Well, working lap 80, number 78 of Andy Lashinsky is pulled out to a 1.2 second lead. Now that he's back in the lead again, he's we got another caution.
Caution is out.
Now, has Andy pulled off like that every single time?
No. Well, yeah. When he's been out front, he's been able to use that clean air and get going.
Okay. While we're under discussion, real quick, I'd like to apologize to Eddie Muha. He made a move down on me on that last time I was out there, and I got into the side of him there a little bit, and I'd like to apologize to him for that.
We have some pit strategies going on here. The 78, the 35, and the 62 are all going to stay out. Quite a few guys are going to stay out on these tires. You know, we've heard people talking 2 tires wasn't the answer. Now, is not getting any tires going to be the answer? Is it going to benefit the 32 in the long run? I guess that'll be an interesting thing to play out. But it is still kind of early. It's lap 82 of 125. But, you know, they could, we know for a fact, make it from here on fuel. Everybody in here, I believe, has been down pit road enough to where they've got, what, 90 laps, did he say, of fuel in this thing? So they can make it from here. So it's pretty much going to be a tire strategy and track position.
Looks like 7 car had gotten into the 80.
7 of Tony Pandon. Got into the 80 of Mark Schaefer. Tony Pandon's got a little bit of damage still. I don't know. He may be out of resets, and hopefully mechanically the car is still in good shape. You know, the body may deceive you a little bit sometimes, but hopefully mechanically he's all right. It looks like that rear spoiler's up in the air a little bit, which I don't know. That might make the car push a little bit more here if they already have a tight condition.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll have a replay for that incident there. The camera wasn't working on the 7 car, but yeah, the 7 car got into the 80 pretty good there. Tony Pandon, I don't know. I think he just was trying to push it a little too hard into the corner.
Yeah, Rob, back to the whole cars being tight. Yeah, this setup is a real tight setup. It's like you have to run it perfectly in order to get it to slide into turns as you need it to. But other than that, it's a really good setup. I'm really glad I was able to have the opportunity to run tonight's race, and kind of sucks I'm out of it so early.
Well, we're glad to have you in the booth. So either way, good run tonight, man. Wish it would have worked out better for you. You think you would have had anything for that number 78 of Andy Lashinsky? He seems to have been the class of the field so far tonight. Of course, you know we've had a couple guys in here saying that they're just saving their stuff. You know, is that feel like what's going on out there?
I probably wouldn't have anything for them. My car was definitely like a top 7 car. The tires for me ran out too quick. I needed to change my driving style a little bit just to keep up with these guys. But once I figure that out, maybe I'll be able to get into the top 5, and then from there, hopefully, a win sometime throughout the season.
Well, the lights are off on the pace
green.
car. They're going green this time by. It looks like we've got the number 78 in the first slot. The second position is Matthew Scott, Ryan Holman 3rd, Michael Hungerford 4th, and Gary Moore in 5th. That's a pretty tough top 5. And they take the green.
Brian Holman got a real good start with Andy there, and the 35 car is working hard on the outside.
But as we've seen tonight, is that outside line going to pay off? I mean, you know, well, these guys all have aged tires on them, but
I don't know. Andy just lost the lead to Matthew on the outside line. Nope, he's working it back. They're racing real hard.
Brian Holman's sitting behind him just waiting for a spot, and he has nowhere to go. We have a car slow down there on the apron. He's out of the way, so there'll be no caution brought out for that. That's good. We still have Matt Scott. He's hanging on that high side, but it looks like
I think he pushed up there a little bit though.
Yeah, it's starting to tighten up. Is that 96? He's trying to work the top side here. You see that, or he's stuck up there.
Yeah, you gotta learn how to run right against that second white line you guys see there on the track. You know, if you're not running right on that white line when they're underneath you, they're going to just get right around you. But in order to keep that fight, you gotta stay right there on that white line. So make sure that nobody can get around you.
Looks like the 96 and the 53 are really getting after each other here. Oh, we have a big crash. The 51 of Johnny
that 51
Gates.
car looks pretty tore up. I think his evening might be done.
And I believe the number 80 of Mark Schaefer.
Yeah, that does look like who it was. I'm looking at the replay, and it looks like the 51 just bounced off the wall, and Schaefer had nowhere to go as he came back down the track.
Yeah, that's just hard racing there, and unfortunate for the 51. You know, he probably got a little tight up there and got that push, and it carried him into the wall, and you know, that'll send him down pit road with a bunch of damage. It takes a long time to fix these cars.
Yeah, his crew's working real hard on that car right now to try to get him back out on the track. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do anything for him.
Looks like Brian Holman pitted. So he's thinking tires now, leaving the 78, the 35, and Gary Moore and Robert Thompson, they all stay out.
Yeah, it looks like Michael Hungerford there in the 96 came in with them.
There's a couple fast cars coming from the back on fresh tires, and it looks like we still have 13 cars on the lead lap. 22 started the race. It looks as though 15 are still left in the race. There's 13 cars on the lead lap, and this thing could still get pretty wild with you know, what, 37 laps left to go.
I think that was a pretty good strategy on Brian's part. He only lost pole positions. Now he's got 4 fresh tires, and Robert Thompson is the freshest tires of the top 4. He pitted like 5-6 laps ago and got them 4 fresh tires. So I think right now Brian Holman got the advantage here.
I think you may be right. Gary Moore hangs up there with those guys. You know, Gary's having a good race. This one's sponsored by Star. It's his organization. And what Star is, everyone, is it's a bunch of guys get together. It's out on the East Coast, and these guys build old school race cars and take them out and entertain the crowds with them, and they got some pretty neat stuff. You know, you can look them up on YouTube and catch some stuff. It's the Stars and Cars of Yesteryear is what it is. The Senior Tour Auto Racers. They're based out of Massachusetts. They're a non-profit organization. They've been around since about 1999. They like to go around to tracks and teach people a little bit about where racing came from and the heritage. That's kind of a cool deal. The lights are off on the pace car, guys. We're going to see some excitement on this restart. We got some fresh tires behind some guys with, you know, a handful of laps on their tires, and then in front of them some guys with even more laps on their tires. So this could get interesting. So we have
pace
Andy
cars off,
leading them around. He's been getting good starts all night, and he gets another good start. He jumps pretty hard. Matt Scott's going to have to fall in behind him.
As they go 3 wide.
Oh, and we have somebody spinning around into the wall.
Yeah,
I knew that
Michael.
wasn't going to work.
Yeah, I saw them go 3 wide, and I was like, wait a second, that's not going to work.
It may have been the 96.
Yep, the 96 of Hungerford, the 7, and then that's the 62. Yep.
They get a jump, and there goes Brian Holman. He jumps right to the inside on them fresh tires, and they go into the corner. Oh, it looks like Tony Pannon just goes up just a little bit and gets into the side of the 96, brings him around. Looks like the number 64 will be the lucky dog, which will bring Bob Bevins and the Bevins CNC machine 1 lap closer to being back on the lead lap. He'll be the next lucky dog as well, as long as he doesn't bring the caution out. See Bob go around in that nice car. He had that thing painted up just for that series. It looks pretty. He's got the Ingersoll Rand logo on there and his Bevins CNC logo on there. You guys really need to check that out. He's a sponsor in another one of our races coming up later on in the season. You guys will get a good look at Bob then. He's having a decent run tonight. His car looks clean. He's going to take it down pit road and, you know, go get himself 4 brand new tires and 1 of his laps back. He ought to be feeling pretty good. He's getting closer to getting back on the lead lap and making some noise. So we have the 78, Andy Lashinsky, followed by Matthew Scott, one of our in-race reporters. We haven't talked to Matt much tonight. We'll get with him on the next caution if we get a chance to. Directly behind him, we've got the number 32 in the Fuzzy Taco late model, driven by Robert Thompson. Behind him is the star, Big Dogs Racing, number 53 of Gary Moore. Followed closely by him is somebody I had a little talk with before the race, is Bob Roberts in the 47. He said he was going to drive it hard tonight. He wasn't out here going to get pushed around by these Big Dogs guys. He wanted to make a name for himself early on and let everybody know he's here. So he's going to get a chance to get up there and get a good run tonight and get his name on the board, and he'll be pleased with that. Right behind him's the Brian Holman machine. You know Brian's got 4 fresh tires. You know Tony Pandon's got 4 fresh tires. Behind him, Bobby Cannon's sitting on 4 fresh tires. So I think we're going to start seeing a little play out with 26 laps to go, or 25 laps to go, as we just cross a 100-lap mark. I think we're going to start seeing this tire wear take effect. Are these guys going to go into the corners 3 wide and cause complete melee, which could happen too?
Yeah, it should be an interesting run to the finish here.
The lights
See if
are
there's
off.
another caution. And what they do on their next strategy if there's another caution.
You know, Andy Lashinsky hasn't got that great of jumps on old Matt Scott tonight. We'll see what he does on this one. Oh, he gets a good one. Green is out. Looks like Matt Scott's going to drop in behind him, and behind them are 2x2. So they'll lose a lot of ground being back there 2 wide to these guys that are singled out already. And as we watch the good race between the 62 and the 32, Brian Holman, Robert Thompson, Gary Moore, they're all bunched up in there. Bob Roberts hovering behind them, and you know, he really doesn't have any way to go, but he's hovering back there. Brian Holman, we spoke to him earlier. He's got them fresh tires. Let's see if he can bring that thing forward. Looks like passing is pretty tough here. Looks like real estate's a premium. Look at Tony Pandon in the number 7 car. He's having a good run tonight. He's trying to work over the number 80 of Mark Schaefer. And Mark's already been in a couple altercations tonight, so I'm sure he's trying to just keep it clean and have a good run out there. As we have a battle for the 4th position going on, the 3rd position going on between Robert Thompson and Brian Holman. We've been seeing them duking it out all night.
Yeah, those are the 2 guys with the 2 freshest tires there. Oh, we got another caution.
Caution is out.
Yeah. Definitely be interesting to see what kind of strategies the guys run here with about 20 to go.
Yeah, it'll be about, what, 17 to go when they take the green, possibly?
My crew called me back to my car, and I took it around for 1 lap. I couldn't control it, so I pulled it right back in. So I guess my night's done for sure.
Looks like the 47's around, Bob Roberts. I was just talking about him. Going to be aggressive tonight. Let's see what happened to Bob. Looks like he goes into the corner, and the 7 of Tony Pandon just gets into, and you can see Tony's got him locked up. He just gets into the back of him just a little too hard and brings him around. Both cars take a little bit of damage. Hopefully they can get them turned around and get some tires on them and get them sheet metal banged out enough to finish this race.
It looks like the 32 of Robert Thompson pulled himself in, giving up that 3rd spot.
Robert Thompson's going to take tires.
That was an interesting goal.
Yeah, well, he must, I don't know. He's got to pass a lot of cars, and I don't know if he can get around them that fast. There's only one groove, and if they don't get out of their groove, it's kind of hard to get by them. You know, while we're on a caution here, we should probably explain to the audience what these guys are racing is called iRacing. You can go and Google it. Just Google iRacing or www.iracing.com. They're racing the late model series from iRacing on Track USA, and all these guys are sitting at home on their computers with their headsets on in a TeamSpeak or communicating through the game, and they've got their steering wheels and their foot pedals, and they're all hooked up to this, and they're all sitting in the cockpit view driving these cars. So it's a racing simulation, and if you're interested in it, you like racing, you're a race fan, you've been looking for a way to get in and compete with real people on a real level, go check out iRacing, and while you're at it, go to BigDogsRacing.org. All the information you need to know about us is right there on the front page. You guys can hop in. We'll be glad to get you started. Tell us you'll watch the show. We are currently not recruiting for the Tuesday night series. You have to come with a driver recommend that's currently in the series now. But we do run 3 nights a week. We run Thursdays and Sundays as well in a couple different series, and we invite you guys to come and check it out.
Oh, no doubt. You know, this is definitely fun. You know, I've been doing this coming up a little bit past 2 years now that I've been with iRacing, and I've got the honor to race with the NASCAR Nationwide Series driver, Josh Wise. So you'll never know who you get to run against.
As these guys get double file, the lights are off on the pace car. This could be the final restart of the night. Is it going to be a clean one? Are we going to see another close caution?
I'm going to want to keep my eye on Robert Thompson here and see what how he fares coming up through the field here.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cars to pass. I know he's got 4 fresh tires, but you know, Brian Holman's got quite a few spots on him, and his tires aren't really that old, and it doesn't look like he's pushed it. But you know, so far the class in the field tonight has been that number 78, Andy Lashinsky. Is anybody going to be able to do anything with Andy? That's what we'll find out. And he gets a good jump.
Yeah, he gets a good jump again as he just pulls out away from the field again.
The number 62 of Brian Holman, we know he's got a little bit fresher tires. He gets underneath Matt Scott.
And
we
the 7
have
goes
another
around on the
car
back
around.
stretch.
Tony Pandon's around, and the 8 plows into him hard.
Yeah, what I saw from that one was Michael Hungerford just pushing and got into the side of Pandon and sent him around.
Well, Tony's having a rough night. You got to wonder.
It looks like we got a replay up, Rob.
Yep, and going into the corner here, it looks like the 96 of Michael Hungerford just goes in too hard and drifts up into him and puts him into the wall, and he could have very well ended Tony Pandon's night. So number 47 is going to be the final lucky dog of the night. That's Bob Roberts. So we've got 11 cars on the lead lap. We're on a lap 113 of 125. The Big Dogs Racing Stars 125 here at the USA International Speedway. We've got several different tire strategies going on. We've got Brian Holman's going to be on the high side on this starting above Andy Lashinsky, and we know Brian's got about what would you say, 12 lap newer tires, Nick?
Yeah, right around 12 laps.
Right behind those guys, we have Matt Scott and Gary Moore, whose car, you know, you wouldn't know it by looking at his ride, but boy, Gary's been having a good night tonight, and I don't think he was quite deserving of the damage that he has. And I tell you that, you know, his steering wheel's not sitting true tonight, and if he's still keeping his spot up there, he's driving the wheels off that thing. Good job tonight, Gary.
And with the strategy that Brian Holman went on tonight, that shakes up the points a little bit. That's putting him ahead of Matt Scott now. So let's see if he can bring that home as a winner tonight and get himself another few-pointer.
They'd be the early points leader. You know, they've got, after tonight, I think they've got 11 races left in the season. 10 or 11 races left in the season. I'd have to double check.
Yeah, this is our third race, and if Brian Holman can win tonight, that's definitely going to shake it up, because if I'm not mistaken, Brian Holman and Matt Scott both have a win so far this season.
Yeah, well, if Matt Scott comes in second, it's really not going to stir it too much, I wouldn't think.
Looks like
he's got a
Brian's
good
ready to
chance.
get. Looks like Brian's ready to get this thing going. He's already lined up double file.
Brian's like, bring it on, man. I've watched your restarts all night long, and I can tell you right now, Brian Holman in that 62, he'll jump on that gas pedal.
You know, of all the guys I've seen work the outside line tonight, I think Brian's pretty much worked it the best. He's passed 2 or 3 cars on this last run of his here on the outside line, so...
Yeah, the 32 of Robert Thompson was doing it early in the race, but I haven't seen him doing it up there late in the race. You got Bobby Cannon, if you look back. He's not too far out of the picture either, you guys. You know, Bobby, he seems to be where he needs to be when it counts.
The lights are out on top of the pace car. We'll be going green this time by...
And the pace car's off. Ooh, Brian Holman gets a good jump on Andy Lachute. He scored as the leader on that lap. Can he get clear and get down into the line is the question. Oh, he gets loose. Oh, and there's all kinds of chaos behind him.
Gary Moore just gets body slammed going down the backstretch.
Yep, I think some cars checked up when they saw Brian Holman get sideways, and it caused some damage. You know, these guys, they just might get a green-white checkered, although there's no green-white checkered in iRacing. When lap 125 rolls around, that's the end of it. Let's take a look at this replay. And it looks like the 80 of Mark Schaefer just right on his back bumper. And he just turns him. Looks like Gary Moore checks up because Brian Holman's sideways, and it looks like the 80 of Mark Schaefer just plows into the back of him pretty much. I don't think maybe Mark didn't see what was going on ahead of him. You know, you are in the cockpit of these things. It is hard to see over the top of people and around people, and you know, maybe just hard racing there, guys. It's unfortunate for Gary Moore. He was having such a good race, but that's part of it. I mean, it's every night, you know, every night you can't leave the track floating. Only one guy can win it. You know, that's kind of the deal with racing. As we go inboard with Mark Schaefer, who's cruising, sitting there looking at the back bumper of Matt Scott from California. Looking up there at Brian Holman. He's thinking, wow, how am I going to get by these guys?
And the 7 car, Tony Pandon, is our lucky dog as he makes his way by the pace car.
Yeah, and you can see the damage on the 7 car. It's pretty well had a rough night. You know, overall, I thought this track would be worse. You know, it's a fast track. It's one groove, but these guys have pretty much been patient for a lot of it. It's time to race now, so you're going to see what they got left. You know, looking at the 80 of Mark Schaefer, it looks pretty clean. The back end's a little caved in, so, I mean, I didn't see it clearly on the replay. Maybe he got shoved into there.
Well, that's the thing about short track racing in a late model. You can expect a lot of melee and havoc happening, especially winding down towards the end of the race.
It looks like Brian Holman's going to get one more shot at this. Can he take Andy Lashitsky and pull out the win? I don't know. Andy's been tough tonight, man. He's run a good race. His car's clean. We haven't seen him involved in any of these cautions.
He almost caused that one, though, when Holman was taking the lead from him.
It looks like Matt Scott's going to pull in the pits and take 4 tires. Well, you wouldn't think that would. Boy, he's not going to make it by all these guys with just 2 to go or 3 to go. But there's the number 32. We talked about him going and getting fresh tires. Now, if you look where he's at, he's right up there. Could he get it? I mean, he does have freshest tires by far on that front pack.
It looks like they're gonna get the one to go this time by. It looks like we're gonna have a 3-lap shootout.
Basically a green-white checker.
And Matt Scott just went 1 lap down.
That's gonna shake up the points some more.
Oh,
big time.
Wow, what kind of mistake did he make in the pits? Did he forget to turn his fuel off? You got to wonder. Or did he have so much damage they parked his car? You never know. I mean, it'll tell you got to pit and fix it. When you get there, it'll shut you down sometimes. So, but I didn't see him getting anything. They take the green. Brian Holman tries to get that jump on the high side again, but we saw what happened last time. Can he make it stick?
I know. Looks like he's going to.
Yeah, he's pinning that 78 down there pretty hard.
And that's what you got to do. You got to pin him down and get as much of that dark part of the track as you can get. But I don't think he's got enough.
He just pitted Andy all the way up front. As they got 2 laps to go this time by, it looks like we got a strong fight for 4th there.
Now Robert Thompson and Bobby Cannon are going at it. They've settled into position now. What's Brian Holman going to do? He seems to be losing ground.
White flag this time by.
Andy Lashinsky's going to win it on the oldest tires. But, we've seen Matt Scott doing something similar on old tires.
We got a spin.
The 32 is around. It looks like Bobby Cannon may have got into the back of him. I don't know if 32 came down or not. I didn't see it. But.
And we've got to run for a second there as they come off turn. It looks like Holman. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. It shows Mark Schaefer has brought it in.
Schaefer got him.
Mark Schaefer got him.
By .004, it looks like.
So we have your winner, Andy Lashinsky, followed by the number 80 of Mark Schaefer. And in 3rd, Brian Holman in the number 62. Coming in 4th is Bobby Cannon in the 29. 5th place would be the number 96 of Mike Hungelford. 6th place would be Josh Weaver in the number 12. 7th position would be Glenn Nettisel. Good race tonight, Glenn, in the number 92. In 8th position, which we saw him get turned right there, is the number 32 of Robert Thompson. And then we have in the 9th position, a lap down, Tony Pandon. 10th is Matt Scott. 2 laps. See, he must have shut the car off at that point. And then 11th, we have Eddie Mua. And bringing in 12th is Gary Moore, who is also having a good race. Don't know exactly what happened to Gary. And then the number 13 of Bob Roberts, the 14 of Bob Bevins. 15th is Ed Mahalsick. 16th, Donnie Gates. 17th, Jason Hogan. 18th, Mark Figueroa. 19th, Mike the Toolman Taylor. And I believe 20th is Corey Valkenot, 54 laps down. Ron Miller in the number 60, 55 laps down. And Rod Hack, rounding out the field in the number 18, takes 22nd position. We'd like to thank you all for watching tonight. We're going to get ready. If we could run a little spot about our sponsor. We can get a couple guys ready to pull down into the broadcast booth, and we can bring in your race winner, Andy Lashinsky, and the 2nd place car of Mark Schaefer. And let's bring in the 3rd place car of Brian Holman tonight and see how everything went for those guys, and congratulate Andy on his win. And then we bring in the race admin, Gary Moore, and we can find out what's up and coming on the Big Dog schedule for next Tuesday.
What was interesting is when they were cooling down into the pits, I think that Mark Schaefer might have had a little bit of something for the 80 car. He turned him and looked pretty flagrant there.
All right, let's go ahead and bring Andy down. And get a word from our race winner. Andy Lashinsky, Rob Moore in the broadcast booth. Good win tonight, buddy. Welcome to Big Dogs Racing. How do you feel?
That was quite the introduction of the series. I had a blast.
You had a good run tonight, man. It looked like you got those tires. You could get that thing out front, and that clean air would just sail you. You know, good consistent lines. It looked like you were clicking off good times all night long.
Yeah, the setup we had was very consistent in the long run. Very impressed with it.
Well, thanks, man. You know, these setups are all built. We didn't really cover it tonight. The setups are all fixed setup, which means the guys get together, they build a setup, and then they lock it in the server, and everybody has to run it. The only thing they can take is fuel and tires. Thinking of tires, Andy, did you think you were in a little bit of trouble when Brian Holman pulled up next to your door with those fresher tires there in that late run?
Yeah, I was a little nervous there. I knew that the extra cautions late was going to help me, because otherwise running green for that long would have put me in a bad spot. But other than that, yeah, he had some fresh tires, and it was definitely a tough race up there.
Good win tonight, Andy. Look forward to seeing you in the next set of Big Dogs races. Welcome to the league.
Thanks again. That was a lot of fun. I'll definitely be back.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and bring in Mark Schaefer, our number 2 finishing car tonight. Mark Schaefer, Rob Moore in the broadcast booth. How are you, sir? Good run tonight. See you pulled out a second place. You got around a hard running Brian Holman to take that spot there in that last lap. Good job, buddy.
Oh, God, I'm going to be sore tomorrow. That was hard. That was a long, long race. I mean, congratulations to Andy, but wow. This car's in 5-6 pieces. I'm surprised I was able to run it that hard.
Yeah, we saw it a little bit dented up. Looked like we couldn't tell if somebody got into the back or not on that last caution that you were involved in. But the back end was pretty smashed in. I think we could see your gas tank at one point. But, hey, you know, it didn't matter. You didn't need your gas tank. You didn't need your bumper, your fenders, your spoiler, your back window. You didn't need any of that stuff. You still brought home a second-place run. Good job, man.
Well, thanks. I mean, this is just amazing. I mean, some guys are just out there driving. Some guys are driving clean. It's just everybody got to get used to everybody, and it's going to come with time. And we had a good green flag run there. I'm proud of all the 5-star guys for helping me out. It's just, what about that finish with Holman? I mean, come on. How close can you get there?
That was great.
Well, let's find out from Brian Holman about that finish. I'll bring him down here right now. Brian Holman, welcome to the broadcast booth. Good race tonight, man. We just heard from Mark Schaefer, and he wanted to ask you a question. What about that last lap pass he pulled off on you?
It's a good pass. Close.
That was a hell of a run, man.
Yeah, that's always fun to race Mark. He's always good and clean, and heck, it's a good battle.
We thought you had it late in the race there, Brian. You had a good run going on the high side, and it looked like you stuck it pretty good, and you had that run you needed, but it looked like you got loose coming out of turn 4 a little bit, and was able to let Andy slip away. But, man, that was a hard run.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be able to clear him out there, and I got tagged in the left rear a little bit and just kind of killed our momentum, but I think it caused a big stack up behind us. But oh well, that's short track racing. It's all good and fun, and just hope we put on a good show for everybody. Thanks to Bob's Motorsports for, helping us out and letting us be able to do this kind of stuff.
Hey, good race tonight. Good points race tonight for you, Brian, and we look forward to watching you the rest of the season. And I haven't looked at the points rundown. I don't know if you quite took the lead tonight, but you very well could have when Matt Scott pulled over and parked his car with 2 to go. So if that's the case, congratulations on your points lead.
Hey, did you get any story on what happened to him?
Thanks, man. Hopefully, still real early in the season, so hopefully we can keep it up there.
Well, as we bring in tonight's race admin, Gary Moore, to finish out our interview process tonight. Gary, tell us a little bit about Star. I kind of flubbed them up a few times tonight, and they deserve a lot of credit for sponsoring this show tonight. And also, let us know what's on the horizon for Big Dogs. What's next with your late model series? What's your next track?
STAR stands for Senior Tour Auto Racers.com. We're a organization, nonprofit, based out of the New England area, where our main goal is the preservation of antique race cars from anywhere from the 30s up into the late 70s. We do still shows. We race about every 3 weekends a month. We also have a toy drive benefit if anybody's interested in. You can go on the website, Senior Tour Auto Racers, and make donations. There's an underprivileged classes down in the Massachusetts area where the kids have nothing that we raise money for.
Well, that's good to know. What's the next track before we bring down Bobby Cannon? And I almost forgot to bring him down here. He's sitting up there all by himself. He had a good run and finished in the 4th place. You had a good run tonight, Gary. We were watching you up there, and you had quite a bit of damage, and you were still driving the wheels off it, and then something happened late. What happened there?
Well, the car was running really good. I got a lap down early, then got my lap back, and was just playing some strategy there. And I thought I made my way up front, and I saw the 2 leaders get together, and I checked up. And when I did, the gentleman behind me just got into me, and that was the end of my night. Our next race will be at Bristol for the Firecracker 150.
Bristol Motor Speedway.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Gotta apologize to Jason Hogan for getting into the back of him.
I think Jason still loves you after all that was said and done. As we bring in our last guy to interview tonight, Bobby, I almost forgot you up there in the interview room. Man, you hung towards the back most of the night, Bob. And late in the race, you just stuck your nose out there when nobody expected to see it and pulled yourself off a good 4th place finish. Good job tonight, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was tough, went down a lap and had to get about, 35, 40 seconds worth of repair done on the car. So I was kind of playing it going in and out, trying to get the car repaired, and just basically kind of hung out and just kind of pick and chose the line. And, luckily the last little caution we had, Scott had to go in and repair some damage, and that just put me up there. And I've got to apologize to Fuzzy. That was not intentional when I bumped him. I didn't want to do a bump and run.
Fuzzy, everybody, would be the 32 Fuzzy Taco. If it looks like a taco and smells like a fish, it's got to be a tasty dish. Robert Thompson. Good race tonight, everybody. We appreciate everybody coming in and watching the show tonight. We look forward to putting on more shows with you. Special thanks to all the drivers, guys over at Glacier TV. Have a good night. See you next week at Bristol Motor Speedway.